Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is September 17th, 2016. Welcome back to my channel. You're probably wondering why I have this piece of scripture over top of the arch that they're going to install on September 19th, 2016 at City Hall on Manhattan Island in New York City. People aren't the only ones that can be possessed by demons or unclean spirits attached to. Objects can actually have demons attached to it as well. And in this case, there are literally thousands of demons attached to this object. And they put it right in the middle of a public place back April 19th, 2016. And all these world leaders came and stood in awe of this thing. And if you're wondering why some of our world leaders were acting strange lately, this is probably why. And they installed this for 3 days just a couple of months before the Brexit vote, hoping to gain influence over this as well. And it just so happens they're going to install this in New York City just a couple of months before the United States of America, when they go to their voting booths and they vote to see who's going to be the next president. So September 19th, 2016, that would be Monday. They're going to install this for 3 days. You need to do a Google search on this guy here, Salvador Dali. And what's even more interesting is the quote that they decided that they were going to use to promote this. New York, you are ancient Egypt. Gee, in a previous Bible code, I had already called America ancient Egypt. Now they're going to install this Arch of Palmyra at City Hall Park, which has been changed from Times Square. My Bible code is based on the access term Times Square. Now, it's not going to make a difference because of all this sacred geometry mumbo jumbo that they're doing. It's all jacked into the ley line that's running through New York City and jacked into the nation, and whatever they do there doesn't matter. If you think that's scary, think about this. They're going to take this arch. They're going to do the same thing, but this time they're going to install it in Dubai. Well, Dubai is right smack dab in the middle of Iran and Saudi Arabia, in the middle of a Middle Eastern conflict between two nations. And there's going to be a demonic release when this hits the soil, just like what'll happen when it's installed in New York City, and just like what had already happened when it was installed at Trafalgar Square in London. And I also have to mention that there was an A-list Hollywood sex club premiere in New York City at the same time. They had this rollout specifically because, in the ancient of days, in Baal worship, there was a lot of sex going on and a lot of virgin sacrifices going on. So this makes perfect sense. It would go on at the same time at the revealing of an ancient Arch of Baal. And you also have a Palmyra themed exhibit in Venice, Italy, that's been going on from March 26, 2016 to November 27, 2016. It just so happens it will end 7 days after the Roman Catholic Jubilee will also end. Now, the most important aspect of this Bible code is what you'll see about the covenant nation that I was about to show you, and the fact that Jonathan Cahn had already done a book and appearances talking about the Harbinger and what the Harbinger is all about. And Manhattan Island is ground zero where believers first consecrated the United States of America to Yahuwah, and the people who are behind this Arch of Palmyra installing it in New York City have every intentions of hoping that it will break this covenant that United States of America is under Yahuwah. On August 24, 2016, there was a blood red moon over New York, captured in spectacular photo, which will probably have everything to do with what you're going to see on Monday, September 19, 2016. Okay, Bible code. My access term is Times Square. Actually, it's times of being squared. I was looking for the Old Testament equivalent of square, and the best thing I could come up with is taking a round post and squaring the edges. So I got times of being squared times square. This access term is at a page width of minus 86,213, and I put a row skip in to make it 43,107. I'm going to read you this line right here. It's Jeremiah chapter 7 verse 9, but I'm going to start at verse 8. Behold, ye trust in lying words that cannot profit. Will ye steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely, and burn incense unto Baal, and walk after other gods, common G, Gimel, Dalet gods, whom ye know not, and come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name. Remember my last video about his name? And say, we are delivered to do all these abominations? Is this house which is called by my name become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, even I have seen it, saith Yahuwah. But go ye now unto my place which was in Shiloh, where I set my name at the first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people, Israel. Now that's all in the past, and if you want to look and see what he did, all you have to do is look at Israel, because he toasted it for all these things. So what do you think is going to happen to the United States of America? And you have the word gate, or the gate, attached to the first word in Times Square. Right here you will see unto Baal, and in the blue is the gate crossing three pieces of scripture. And this piece of scripture right here, I'm going to read you. This is Jeremiah chapter 34, verse 18, but I'm going to start off. Thus saith Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, I made a covenant with your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondsmen, saying, at the end of 7 years let ye go, every man his brother a Hebrew, which had been sold unto thee. And when he had served thee 6 years, thou shalt let him go free from thee. But your fathers hearken not unto me, neither incline their ear. And ye were now turned and had done right in my sight in proclaiming liberty, every man to his neighbor. And ye had made a covenant before me in the house which is called by my name. But ye turned and polluted my name, and caused every man his servant and every man his handmaiden, who he had set at liberty at their pleasure, to return, and brought them into subjection to be unto you for servants and for handmaidens. Now verse 18, when I read it, I want you to think Manhattan Island, consecration ground, ground zero. And I will give the men that have transgressed my covenant, which have not performed the words of the covenant which they had made before me, when they cut the calf in twain and passed between the parts thereof. The princes of Judah, the princes of Jerusalem, the eunuchs, the priests, and all the people of the land which passed between the parts of the calf. I will even give them into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of them that seek their life. And to their dead bodies shall be for meat unto the fowls of the heaven and to the beasts of the earth. Back up to verse 18. This word here, it means the covenant. Same word you'll find in Daniel 9:27, the covenant. But it also means, or can mean, a covenant nation, or specifically the United States of America. And this line down here, this is from Ezekiel's wheel, Ezekiel 10, verses 17 and 18. And over here you have the cherubim and the cherubim highlighted. Now the whole purpose of this vision Ezekiel is having is to show him that it was Yahuwah's will that was sending Babylon from the north towards Israel. It was his will that was sending this. This line up here, to make a long story short, this is 1 Kings chapter 21 verses 6. This is where Ahab wanted to buy the vineyard from Naboth, but Naboth didn't want to sell it to him, and Ahab went whining back to Jezebel, his wife. So she wrote to the council and ordered them to have 2 men stand up and bear false witness against Naboth and had him murdered. Since she was the king's daughter, she had that leverage in Israel. Now that could mean that Hillary is the chief prince of the Democrats and Trump is the chief prince of the conservatives. Here you have Russian, and the Samic is attached to in the silver right here. And that's interesting. I'm wondering if Hillary would have two false Russian witnesses that could try to testify against Donald Trump for some strange reason. And then if you follow Hillary's name in the purple, the Resh lands right here, right in the middle of cherub and release. This word here, release, also means Shemitah. And it's interesting, back down here on Jeremiah chapter 34, verse 14, just 4 verses before this, it's talking about a 7-year period. And it just so happens to be that a 7-year period is one Shemitah cycle. And there it is. Shemitah, or release, cherub, Hillary. Now, what cycle was Jonathan Cahn's book, The Harbinger, based on? The Shemitah cycle. He even wrote a book, The Mystery of the Shemitah. Now, this over here spells the Amim, and again the Amim. They're attached to each other here. Now, these are warring spirits. This is what's going to be coming out of the Arch of Baal, the same as it did when it was in London, and the same that it will be when it's in Dubai. Warring spirits are going to pour out of this portal, really. This is what it is a portal. And you just so happen to have a lot of Muslims on American soil with itchy trigger fingers. Where do you think they're going to go first? I will even give them into the hand of their enemies and into the hand of them that seek their life. And their dead bodies shall be for meat unto the fowls of the heaven and to the beasts of the earth. Who are the enemies of the United States of America? Plural. And over here it has unto Baal, to war, or to battle, the gate. And along this line here, the white, Mem, Pe, Tav, Het, that spells from opening, from portal of, key of, engraving. Now the word key here, if Brother John from the book of Revelation were to write out the word key in Hebrew from Revelation chapter 9 verse 1, this is the way he would spell it, the key. This mem here is attached to a mims, and if you keep going, mem, lamed, aleph, kaf, yod, that spells angels of. I'm kind of finished, done doing this table, but I'm kind of not done it, because last night I was looking at this and I decided to delete the first version of the video that I did of this table because I started to find something else in here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a date, which would be Monday. That would be Elul 16. So I'm going to put that date in here. And then I'm going to shift the table, and you're going to see something awesome happen right before your very eyes. Elul 10. 6. Elul 16. And there it is right here. Now I'm just going to mark a different spot and center my table different. Let me move that over. I'm going to put this number in here. 3, 5, 2, 9, 1. And you see it's now off center a bit, but just wait. Now, all I did with this is add 7 letters to each line in this Bible code. To bring the page width from 43,107 to 43,114. That's all I did, and this is what they call snooping. or shifting, and this is a bona fide way of looking for other information in the same table. And as you can see, the date here, Elul 16, is now a solid bar, and as you can see, there are other things that align with the table here, like the covenant sitting right on top of the cherubim, and Shemitah as a complete vertical with Hillary going right through it. Now, I'm not going to use this Bible code. I'm going to use this one here. It's identical, just with some of the stuff cleaned up and some more stuff added. Now, the next thing I want to show you blew me away. If you look at the Ezekiel wheel passage, Ezekiel chapter 10, verse 18 and 19. Over here, right where this date that I put in is established, along the same line as Ezekiel chapter 10, verse 19, you will find also the date encoded right on the scripture, Tishri 16. And guess what? Tishri 16, 5776 is also September 17th, 2016. That's today. That would be on the biblical observed calendar, not on the civic calculated calendar. Elul 16 this Monday, that would be on the civic calculated calendar. That would be this date right here. Now, the other things that are in here. I'm going to read you Ezekiel chapter 10 verses 18 and 19. That would be this line down here. And I have the cherubim and the cherubim marked out right here. Then the glory of Yahuwah departed from off the threshold of the house and stood over the cherubims. And the cherubims lifted up their wings and mounted up from the earth in my sight. And when they went out, the wheels also were beside them. And every one stood at the door of the east gate of Yahuwah's house. And the glory of the Elohim of Israel was over them. It's interesting up here where you see from the heavens, right here, lockstep with chief prince, and you have Hillary, and right over top of the Trump. Now get this, right over here on this line, I'm going to read you this line. I didn't mark it, but I'll read this to you. 1 Kings chapter 1 verse 50, and Adoniah feared because of Solomon, and he arose and went and caught hold of the horns of the altar. And it was told Solomon, saying, Behold, Adoniah feareth King Solomon, for lo, he hath laid hold on the horns of the altar, saying, Let King Solomon swear unto me first of all that he will not slay his servant with the sword. And right here in the white, it's saying, and he is holding fast in horns of the altar, the trump. I'm going to refrain from commenting on that one. Next one, over here next to Elul 16. Now I just seen this. This is cool. I'm going to mark this. Actually, I could go here to the face, confront. This means confront right here. So you go confront from the heavens, and sharing this mem, you have from the gate, the emims, and the aleph is actually sharing with Elul 16. And then you have Tishri 16 over here embedded right in the scripture. I find this very interesting because you have Hillary and you have star here, but then in the reverse you have another star. You have two Hillary stars. Interesting. And this is the star, release, the covenant, the cherubims, Hillary. Oh my. This Tishri 16 over here, I have to tell you, it could also be counted on the civic calculated calendar as well. And that would be on October 18th, 2016. That would be the 2nd of Sukkot. Now, Most likely what will happen is this will be shifted forward a couple of days, probably to the 20th, so either on the 18th or on the 20th. I would say that would be on the 16th, somewhere in here, because of what happens on the New Year, because it always shifts forward a couple of days. Now, does anything have to happen on that day? Not exactly, because there was some time between when Ezekiel had his vision and when the armies actually got there in Israel from Babylon. So, doesn't have to exactly happen on that day this year. It could be for next year. So I just wanted to point that out. Oh, and what's going to be coming from the north this time? Gog. Ezekiel 38. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close off this video. It's 5:11 a.m. in the morning and I really want to get this done. So I'm going to drop off now. I thank you so much all for watching this, and I bless you all, and until we meet again.